All right, guys, let's get straight into the video. Today, I want to talk about my 10 favorite parts of reselling. It's not what you think. A lot of people think that I'm all about volume and numbers, but that's actually not true. I did have an income goal set for myself, but when I hit it, it didn't make me as happy as what I'm going to go over in today's video. Please make sure to listen all the way to number 10, which is the most powerful one and my most favorite part of reselling. All right, guys, number 1 is actually counting every single piece. So right now I am super psyched because I know literally per piece how many items that I have, and it makes me so excited. Essentially, one time I got an order from a supplier that was 6,000 units short, and it made me realize I need to count every single item when it comes in, right when it comes in. So now in our receiving area, when a supplier drops off stuff, we count literally every single piece, and it's brought me such a huge peace of mind. Before we get into number 2, I just want to go over how I count. I essentially open up every single box, count how many things are in the box, and then I write the number on the box. If it comes in one giant Gaylord, what I'll do is I'll set up an empty Gaylord right next to it and count as I go into the Gaylord, and I actually just mark on the box how many I counted. There's ways to do like clickers, but for me, I like writing on the actual box, and I feel like it's really satisfying. And also, if the supplier questions your count, you can show them the count on the box. Number 2 might be the most important part of reselling. It's one of my favorite parts, which is sorting. So as a reseller, if you can add value to the product, it sets you apart from most resellers that can only just lower the price. So what I do is I actually sort all of my items by size. So extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. By sorting it by size, it allows me to create bundles of the same size. It creates a much more elevated experience for the customer. It's my main value add, so sorting is extremely satisfying, and I love it when I know exactly how many of each size I have. So when you buy returns, you end up getting a normal distribution of items. If you end up buying overstock, you always get the items that don't sell at the store. Much better price on overstock, but harder to sell. Returns cost a lot more, but easier to sell because there's already proof that customers want to buy that. So when you're sorting through items, you want to sort of think about what is going to be more profitable and what is going to sell faster. Those might be different categories for you if you plan on adding value. If you don't plan on adding value, it's actually better to just do it all in order and don't do any sorting. Otherwise, you'll never list the items that suck. So sorting, I'm doing it this way so I can create custom bundles. But if you were not doing this and you just listed every single item, I would just pick up one item, list it, pick up the next item, list it, and do that over and over again until it's gone. That way you do first in, first out, meaning the oldest item in your inventory, you would list that first. Otherwise, you would get stuck only listing the good stuff. And if you only drank the new milk, you would just have like an entire store full of expired milk. So hopefully that's useful, guys. But for me, sorting by size is insanely satisfying. Definitely one of my favorite parts of reselling. All right, guys, number 3 is that everything has a home. So on this desk right here, we do shipping, we do listing, we do photography, we do streaming. Everything has a specific home and place that we have it on here. That way, if something is out of place, it's really easy to find. As an example, this iPhone should be charging right now, but it's not. So it's easy to see that's not plugged in. Everything else is plugged in, and I have backup everything. Everything here, right here, we have on a different supply shelf. In case any of this stuff breaks down, we can replace it within 30 seconds. Behind here, all of the employees have their own locker, and you can see right now there's a shirt on top. Anything that's out of place, it's easy to identify, easy to correct. And I would say this is not on my list of 10, but having enough room to actually work really changed my resale business, because when I first started, I was just working randomly. I had no dedicated space to do anything, but this area right here is where we put together boxes and put items into poly mailers for shipping, and just having enough room where I can reach under, get any supplies that I need, reach over here and check on the computer if I want to double check an order. It really has changed my business, so I recommend getting the biggest possible table you can. Number 4 is clear scheduling. I think something that really transformed my business is that everybody that works here is on salary. So I actually don't monitor their hours. They just have a specific amount of productivity to hit every single day, and it's set hours or a set schedule. And having clear scheduling allows my staff and me to actually have time off. So if you are scheduled whenever, however, like most resellers are, you end up being in a position where you're always at work and you're never off and you're never at work either. So I like to have clear scheduling. It really transformed my business. I'm a big schedule guy. And if you guys want to check out my scheduling tool, it's on dailyrefinement.com. It's free. You can go in there and check out how to build your own schedule to fit all your priorities in. Number 5 is trying to make tasks as obvious as possible. So I use these as my cubby racks, and you can see it's clearly numbered 866, 867, 868. On the actual label, it will have the number. So all the shipper needs to do is match the actual auction number with the number on the rack. Double check. And there's also, because I saw on the platform Whatnot, there's a video receipt that you can compare what's sold to what you were saying you were selling on stream. And on eBay or Amazon or Mercari or Poshmark, there's also a photo of the item so you can double check. But I try to make things as clear as possible. And I'll tell you, even though everything is super labeled, mistakes can still happen. That's why it's so important to be clear so you can go back and fix it. All right, guys, number 6 is actually having extra. This is one of the most important parts of reselling. I was talking about making sure that your warehouse or your bedroom or your garage has at least 1/3 of the space completely open, but since I'm in this temporary space, I've been testing having even more space. So I'd say right now it's like 60 to 70% empty in all my different spaces. And I actually think that now, if you can, 50% or more empty space really allows you to do whatever you want. I can take in twice as much inventory and I can still operate. So I think it's important to have extra space if you can. I want to have at least 1 year of extra cash in my business bank account for any purchases. So I don't have to worry about borrowing money or doing any net terms. I can just pay for it by being frugal. I think it's really important to have at least 6 months of inventory money saved up, because there might be a really big deal that really is a home run for you and you want to save up. Also, time-wise, I think that the way I schedule my staff, I want them to be able to do just half of my capacity. So if I can do 100 an hour, I expect my staff to do 50 an hour. And having that buffer really allows people to not have to be so rushed at work. And I'll tell you for sure, all the workers that I hired are now better than me at all the tasks that I have them do. It's just at first, it takes them a little bit longer, which is okay. But after it becomes their job, every single one of my workers outperforms me. All right, guys, number 7 is having one master document with all the processes. So for me, I actually have 3 different things that people use, but it's all in one document. The document has the overview, the position, the compensation, how everybody is paid, all the expectations, how to do your job is on here. On that document, you can link to your performance, because essentially what I'm doing right now is I'm just a coach. I look at the performance of all of my employees and make sure that it's on point. And then finally, I use Slack to communicate with everybody. Originally, I was just text messaging everybody, but I feel like that's kind of invasive, having personal and business mixed together. So now I communicate with everybody on Slack. There's a different channel for each department. And then when people want to get off of work, they can just log out of Slack and there's no more messages for them. The only thing that I told my workers that we might call you for is if there's a question of shipping. So shipping is so important in this business. It's got to go out as soon as possible. It is quite complicated when you have a lot of orders, because logistically, if you're going all the way till midnight or you have an overnight show, sometimes those orders don't get shipped till one more day. And orders that are just sitting around are the ones that have the most mistakes. So in a perfect scenario, we ship as we go, but that's not always going to be perfect depending on scheduling. So I think it's really, really important to have one document with all the standard operating procedures. This document will make you hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars if you actually sit down and write one out. It should not be more than 1 page. If it's more than 1 page, your process is way too complicated and it's going to be very difficult to do over a long period of time. All right, guys, number 8 is actually down here. Number 8 is having nothing on the floor. It has been so awesome making sure there's nothing on the floor in any of my workspaces, nothing on the floor at home. And I've been super into sweeping. A lot of people had recommended like all this fancy stuff, but honestly, just a broom and dustpan in every single area in the warehouse has kept the floors completely clean. And it's just so obvious now, because people watch me walk around the warehouse and pick stuff up off the floor. So everyone has that habit now. I might even make it mandatory that like, please pick up 5 things every day when you go to work, just so we can keep it immaculate. All right, guys, number 9 is having no death piles. No matter what level reseller you are, you're always gonna have situations where you have inventory lying around. So my job really is to walk around and find inventory that's just sitting in some area and either sort it back into inventory in its respective place, or I'll just turn the stream on and just sell it right there. I am like the controller of death piles in the company. I make sure there are very little to no death piles anywhere. And I'll give you an example. This right here is exactly the same bag. It's just one bag. So for this type of listing, it doesn't make sense to auction it, because by the 3rd one, it's super boring. So we actually list these fixed price. Now, because that's a different process than everybody else, I don't want to confuse everybody else working here. I'm working on that. It's kind of like the owner of a restaurant walking around from table to table and saying, hey, how's your dinner? How's your lunch? How's your breakfast? Every single customer might have a unique situation they need inspected or reviewed, and I want to do that. Walk around and make sure that there's nothing in this entire warehouse that's not listed or ready to be sold. And something that's ready to be sold, I put in the queue category, like it's queued up to be sold at a certain point. I don't really consider that a death pile. So for me, I can look at my inventory and be like, okay, we're about 6 weeks from running out, 7 weeks from running out. All right, guys, number 10. Finally, you made it all the way through the video. I appreciate you guys. Please smash the like button. Please consider subscribing. Number 10 is clarity of purpose. Why are we even doing this? So for me, I have very clear goals. I want to do at least $10 million in sales. I want to do at least $2 million in profit. And I want to provide a working living income for 20 or more people. So for me, and I also want to have all the things we talked about in this video, plenty of space, plenty of time, plenty of energy. I want people to be done early. I want people to come a little bit early to work so that they can make sure everything goes smoothly. But at this point in my career, I just want things to go smoothly, so preparation is everything. And it takes a long time to become prepared, unless right out the gate you're prepared, but most people, if you're like me, you're not prepared and know everything right when you start. So it's super important to do as many things as you can and review to see if those are the right things, and then just start removing things that take too long. I was reviewing one of the streams with one of my workers, and for her, she was streaming about 30 items per hour, and our goal is 40 items per hour. And as I was saying before, my personal goal is 100 items an hour. So my workers, I'm only expecting 40 an hour. She was at 30 an hour. We went through the stream and found about 8 different things that we can take out that she's saying that have no value to the customer. So essentially, you're just telling people exactly what they need to know and nothing more, and that's saving so much time. She from 30 items an hour to 50 items an hour after one training session, because she just removed all the different things she was saying that weren't necessary, and she removed all the different movements in her presentation that weren't necessary, saved her a bunch of time, made her a much better streamer. She makes more money, company makes more money, everybody's happy. So you guys out there, please smash the like button, consider subscribing. Until next time, make progress daily.